Welcome to the Hindu Current Affairs for Beginners. Let's start our today's session. Before going into our session, first let us see answers for the questions from our yesterday's video. With regard to political funding in India, consider the following statements. The first statement is the political party should declare the donations exceeding 2000 rupees to the Election Commission. Yes, previously it is 20,000 rupees. If the donations were about 20,000 rupees, then the political party should declare in the form of a report to the Election Commission. This statement is correct. A political party can receive foreign funds in India. According to 1976 Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, foreign funding to a political party is prohibited. But a finance bill of 2016 that was passed, it had brought an amendment to this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act of 2010, and it says that all the political parties who have received foreign funds from 1976 till now, they should not be subjected to any investigation. And this law had made it easier for the political parties to accept the foreign funds. This amendment had made it easier for them. So from this we can say they can receive foreign funds in India according to this finance bill of 2016. So as both the statements are correct here, the answer is C, both 1 and 2. Which among the following organizations of the World Bank Group is focused exclusively in providing investment to private sector? There is an institute in World Bank Group that provides investment, and it will provide advices in their management to the private sector as well as government, but their exclusive focus is on private sector. That institute is International Finance Corporation. So the answer here is C. It focuses exclusively on the private sector. The next question is, which of the following countries is or are the member nations of ASEAN? This ASEAN has 10 Southeast Asian countries as its members. They include Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Philippines, Laos, Brunei, Malaysia, Singapore, Myanmar, and Indonesia. So now let's see our statements. Malaysia, Thailand, India, Vietnam, and China. See, from these 10 countries, there is no India and China as members of ASEAN. So we can eliminate 3 and 5. So the option here is 1, 2 and 4 only. So the answer here is A. Now let's start today's session, and these are all the topics that we are going to cover in detail in our today's video. And dear students, regarding notes, the notes will be updated by tomorrow morning. We are sorry for the delay. From next video onwards, the notes will be updated on the same day itself. Now let's start our session. Our first article is Average Rainfall Heights Weather Extremes, says a report. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of disaster management. From the prelims point of view, what is important from this article here is there is mention of a report known as the Face of Disasters Report. Face of Disasters 2019. Please note it down. Who releases this report? It is the Sustainable Environment and Ecological Development Society. And this report says the IMD has predicted that there will be a normal monsoon this year, and this report is warning that this average rainfall is hiding the extreme weather conditions in the country. So from the prelims point of view, we should know what is this report and who releases this report, and what is this SEEDS, Sustainable Environment and Ecological Development Society. This was born in 1994 in order to protect the lives and livelihoods of people who were exposed to disasters. This is the ultimate goal of this Sustainable Environment and Ecological Development Society. The next article is The Limits of Populism. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of polity. Here, from this article, let us see what is meant by this term populism. This word populism is derived from a Latin word known as populus, which means people in English. It means a government for the people. This is a political philosophy that focuses on the rights and positions of common people in contrast to the rights of elite and the government. Here it focuses upon the rights and positions of common people. The key idea behind this populism is that common man should have a chance in the society and an active role in the government. And people who are in favor of this populism idea, they generally support democratic systems and they believe that democracy is the best way for people to play a role in the government. The next article is a crisis of credibility. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of polity. Here in this article there are various things that are important from the prelims point of view, but we have seen most of them in the last week itself. We have seen what is this anti-satellite test. It is a technological capability to target a satellite that is orbiting in the space using a missile, by launching a missile from the ground. This is anti-satellite test. Then we have seen about VVPAT, which is a feedback mechanism, feedback machine for the voter to check whether the voter's vote has gone to the intended person. And another thing is model code of conduct. Model code of conduct are the guidelines issued by the election commission to the political parties and the candidates how they should be during the elections and during election campaign. And we have also seen about our Election Commission of India. But now, this entire article is focusing on two things. One is the appointment process of the members of the Election Commission and the removal process, especially impeachment process of the Chief Election Commission. Now we will see both these in detail, and we are also going to see about a thing known as Law Commission. First, let us see about this Election Commission of India. This Election Commission of India is a permanent constitutional body as per Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. This was established on January 25th of 1950. But from the existence, it had only one member. It is a one-member body. That is the Chief Election Commissioner only. And for the first time, 2 additional commissioners were appointed on October 16th of 1989. So it has CEC plus 2 election commissioners. But their tenure, these 2 election commissioners were there only till January 1st of 1990. Then again, our election commission has become a single member body with only the Chief Election Commissioner. But again in 1993, 2 more election commissioners were once again appointed. From then onwards, our election commission has been a multi-member body with the Chief Election Commissioner and the 2 election commissioners. Who appoints these people? It is, according to Article 324 Clause 2, the President with the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers should appoint these Chief Election Commissioner as well as the other election commissioners. The President will do so after the Law Ministry initiates the file for the appointment of CEC and 2 other election commissioners. And according to this Article 324 Clause 2 of the Constitution, the President should take the advice of Council of Ministers to appoint CEC and the election commissioners until the Parliament enacts a law. That law should regarding the criteria for selecting what are the conditions of service and tenure. This law should contain this and it has to be enacted by the Parliament. Till then, the President should go in this way. President should take the advice of Council of Ministers under the Transaction of Business Rules of 1961 to appoint the CEC and 2 election commissioners. And the tenure of the CEC and 2 election commissioners is 6 years or until 65 years That is until the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. Then what about the salaries and all? The chief election commissioner as well as the other election commissioners, they receive equal salary and they had equal powers, and those salary and allowances are similar to that of what the Supreme Court judge receives. This is important. And what about the decision making? If there is any difference of opinion between these three members on any matter, then that matter will be decided based on the majority vote. Here, either if two election commissioners accept it without the chief election commissioner not accepting it, still it will go on because two election commissioners were accepting, and this is based on majority vote. Now, let us see the removal process of the chief election commissioner as well as the election commissioners. Here, they can be removed by the process of resigning. They can resign, and based on what grounds a CEC has to be removed is incapacity or proved misbehavior. These are the grounds for removal. Here, there is a difference in the process of removal for CEC and the other election commissioners. They receive equal salary and they have equal powers, but their removal process is not same. These election commissioners will be removed by the president based on the recommendation of the chief election commissioner. But the chief election commissioner will be removed by a process known as impeachment, and that process is similar to that of how a Supreme Court judge will be removed. And the rules for the removal process are laid down in this Judges Inquiry Act of 1968. First of all, the notice to remove the CEC will be handed over either to the Speaker of Lok Sabha or to the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. The Chairman of Rajya Sabha is the Vice President of India. That means this can be introduced in either house of the Parliament. And when this motion is admitted, then the Speaker or the Chairman should constitute a 3-member committee to investigate the charges that were leveled against the CEC. But for the motion to be admitted, it needs the signature, a sign by either 50 members of Rajya Sabha or 100 members of Lok Sabha. Once it is admitted, then either the Speaker of Lok Sabha or the Chairman of Rajya Sabha, in whichever house it is, they will constitute a 3-member committee, and that committee consists of a senior Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice of a High Court, and a designated jurist. Then this 3-member committee will submit a report, and if the charges were confirmed, then it will be taken up for the discussion. It will go to the house where this was introduced. First of all, whether it is Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Then it has to be discussed in the house, and that has to be passed with a special majority. What is a special majority? This should get the support of a majority of total membership of the house and a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting, and that too in the same session. It has to be done. It has to be passed by a special majority. Then it will be sent to the passed on to the other house. Even in that house, this has to be passed with a special majority again. Once both the houses passes it, then the president will be approached to remove the chief election commissioner. This is the process how the chief election commissioner will be removed from his office. And during this inquiry itself, the chief election commissioner will have a full right to defend himself. This is the right to be heard. The next thing is Law Commission of India. What is this? Is it a constitutional body or a statutory body? It is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body, but it is just an executive body. It is an ad hoc body. That means it is a temporary body. Whenever it is needed, it will be formed and it will be disposed of once the work is done. The main purpose of this law commission is to bring in some recommendations for legal reforms. But none of their recommendations were binding on the government. Here, this law commission will act as an advisory body to the Ministry of Law and Justice in bringing some legal reforms like amendments and updations to the laws. And as it is mentioned here, this will have a fixed tenure. It will be established for fixed tenure and generally it will be for 3 years. And our first law commission of independent India was established in 1955 with its chairman as Mr. MC Settleward, who was also the first Attorney General of India. The next thing is Chenchu's belief the fox ushers in fortune. This article comes under GS paper 1 under the topic of culture. Here there is mention of a tribe name known as Chenchus. These are the Adivasis as designated scheduled tribe in the located. They belong to the states of AP, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka and Odisha. They were the designated scheduled tribe and they were also known as particularly vulnerable tribal group. They are an aboriginal tribe whose traditional way of life is based on hunting and gathering. They speak Chenchu language, which is a member of Dravidian language family. And many Chenchus, they live in the dense Nallamala forest of Andhra Pradesh and they are also known as Chenchu Reddis in Rayalaseema because they use the Reddy title. Here the Chenchus are referred to as one of the primitive tribal groups because they still depend on forests and do not cultivate the land but they hunt for their living. So whenever a tribe appears in the paper, just note down to which location that tribe belongs to. The next article is End of the Runway. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of infrastructure. Here in this article there is mention of a rule known as 5/20 rule. What is this 5/20 rule? This rule is applicable only for civil aviation in India but not in other countries. So what does this rule say? According to this rule, any airline has to fly, if it wants to fly abroad, then that airline must be 5-year-old and it should have at least 20 aircraft in their fleet. It implies that a domestic airline should have a fleet of 20 aircraft that is operating since 5 years with an experience of 5 years. So to put it simply, our domestic airlines, if there is any airline that is operating only within the country, now they want to expand their operations to international level, they want to travel even abroad, then to get permission it should have a 5-year experience and 20 aircrafts. The next article is Position on Masood Azhar remains unchanged, says China. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of international relations. Here from the prelims point of view, what is important is this United Nations 1267 committee. We have been seeing this so many times but let me brief it again. Yes, this United Nations 1267 committee is a committee that was established to look into the sanctions on the terrorist organizations and individuals who were related to Al-Qaeda. So once a terrorist organization or an entity or an organization or an individual is listed under this UNSC 1267 committee, then there will be a travel ban imposed on that individual or that organization and their assets will be frozen and they'll be imposed with financial penalties. This committee consists of 15 members, of which 5 are permanent members and 10 are non-permanent members. And these 5 permanent members are US, UK, China, Russia and France. and these 5 countries were having veto power. That means regarding any decision on listing an entity or an organization or an individual under this list, the decision of these 5 members is important because they have this veto power. So using this veto power, they can impose a technical hold. Once a technical hold was placed, then that issue cannot be bring back before the committee till 3 more months. Only after 3 months again this issue can be brought to this committee. So right now China has placed this technical hold in listing Masood Azhar, the Jaish-e-Mohammed's founder, who took responsibility for the recent Pulwama attack, as a designated terrorist under UNSC 1267 committee. The next article is Mars-based simulator unveiled in Gobi Desert. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of science and technology. Here, what is this Mars-based one? This is a simulated colony that was created by China in order to give the taste of life on a planet known as Mars, how the life will be on planet Mars to the teenage students. Without leaving our country, without leaving their home country, they can experience how the life will be on another planet. So China has built this simulator in Gobi Desert. And let us also look about this Gobi Desert. Where is the location of this Gobi Desert? It is a mid-latitude desert, and these deserts are situated on the plateaus and they are part of continental interiors. They are not exposed to any oceans, and these are rainless because of their continentality. Some of the other examples of this mid-latitude deserts were Gobi Desert and Patagonian Desert and Ladakh Desert in India were some of the examples of the deserts with this mid-latitude desert climate. Now let's see our today's prelims practice questions. With regard to election commission, consider the following statements. In case of a difference of opinion on any matter, the Chief Election Commissioner has veto power. The CEC and other commissioners receive equal salaries and are removed like the judge of Supreme Court. Unlike other commissioners, the Chief Election Commissioner is eligible for reappointment. The Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners hold the office till the tenure of 5 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. Select the incorrect answer. Please look into this question. I am asking, select the incorrect answer using the code below. The next question is, consider the following pairs. On 16th April, here we discussed about New Year's and in which states those New Years were celebrated. So here I have given a matching regarding this. Consider the following pairs. Puthandu, Tamil Nadu, Ugadi, Karnataka, Lasung, Sikkim, Pohela Baisak, Punjab. Select which of the above pairs are correctly matched. Try to answer these questions and post your answers in the comment box. In our tomorrow's video, we will see a detailed explanation for these questions. Thank you.